Hello, everybody. My name is Dominic, aka Mr. Hackathon, and today I will give you an introduction to building software without coding. And I know it might be a little bit intimidating. You might have some preconceptions about what it means to build software without coding, but I think I'm going to bring more awareness about what this actually means throughout the presentation. And we're actually going to build a mobile application without coding. I think we're going to build an AI application. And while I'm going through the presentation, maybe think about ideas of AI applications that you might want to see, and we'll try and build one of them. To give you a little bit background about me, I started my journey with HTML and CSS. And in the early part of my career, MySpace was really, really huge. This was like the Facebook before Facebook. And with MySpace, you could actually use HTML and CSS to customize the layouts. And that's where my love for technology really started, or one of the places my love for technology started. In my school, they other students would actually pay other students that knew how to use HTML and CSS to customize their layouts for their page. And this was also my, I guess, first introduction into freelancing before I actually knew what freelancing meant. I later went on to learn JavaScript, to learn Python, and now I'm majority in the no code, low code space, but I do have a technical background. During this time, there was also a platform called Dreamweaver by Adobe, and this was a web development platform to create websites without coding. I don't believe it's around anymore, but this was another huge platform, and I was sent to summer camps to actually build websites here in the UK where I was raised. As I grew older, I became more and more athletic, and I became an international basketball player. And this led me to get a scholarship to go to the US and study. I'm just going to take a look at the comment. Okay. It led me to go to the US and study. And while in the US, I was an architecture student for 3 years, and I was a construction student for 2 years. And I was neither an architect or a construction manager or a project manager because I really loved design, but I was more technical than the average designer. And I did really love practical building, but I was more creative than the practical builder. And my professor suggested that I get into what was called building information modeling or virtual design construction. This was dealing with virtual reality, augmented reality, 3D printing, laser scanning, drones in the construction industry. And my first job was doing all of that in the US. We're just going to let this person in. Since then, I have been a content creator for big brands. I built a relatively big following on TikTok, about 16K. It's big for the no code space. I've advised startup accelerators and startups. I create content for universities and university entrepreneurship programs. I've also been through accelerators myself and also build a lot of products. You'll see some of my products a little bit later, and we'll build one in real time uh, after the presentation. In today's conversation, we'll be outlining a couple things. Why did no code even exist? Technology stacks within no code, career opportunities in no code, different communities that can help you along your way, and then we'll be building our project. Historically, there's been difficulties with actually developing software. It's been extremely expensive, it's been a specialist skill, and it's been time consuming. Over time, every year, every 5 years, every 10 years, it has been decreasing in the cost. More people have actually been able to develop software, and the time to develop software has significantly reduced. This is where no code comes into play. No code is just a term, an umbrella term used to describe products that allow users to develop software with minimum coding ability. There's a spectrum for no code. So some tools don't allow you to code at all and don't allow you to export any code. Some tools allow you to export code. Some tools allow you to create scripts and functions, and some tools allow you to do much more than that, but still count as no code because it's that visual way of building. If anyone has any questions, feel free to just write in the chat box what questions you have. In this section, we're going to go over technology stacks within the no-code ecosystem. First and foremost is website builders. I mentioned Adobe Dreamweaver, but one of the most popular website builders would be WordPress. WordPress is considered a no-code platform, but you can also create scripts for WordPress, you could create plugins for WordPress, and more. Another tool is Wix, Squarespace, Webflow. There's a number of tools that allow you to create websites without coding. And if you have coding ability, it allows you to extend the functionality of those websites. If you wanted to web scrape and you wanted to get data from the web, chances are you would use something like Selenium. So I can't pronounce it correctly, but chances are you would use different frameworks and libraries connected to JavaScript. You would use Python. Most people use Python for web scraping and automation. But in the no-code space, there's tools like Make, tools like Zapier, tools like Parabola that allow you to do data transformations, data manipulations, and data scraping without coding. Also, automations, just regular workflow automations. So, regular workflow automations are things such as like automating tweets or automating emails being sent or automating text messages being sent, automating PDFs being created or adding captions to videos in an automated way. This is what automation tools allow you to do. Virtual and augmented reality. If you're familiar with Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, or TikTok, they all have tools that allow you to create virtual and augmented reality experiences. And what people are doing more and more is getting paid to create these virtual and augmented reality experiences for brands. The unique part, if you know how to code, is you can extend the functionality of these platforms and actually add scripts to create games out of augmented reality experiences. Gaming. Many people, especially students, want to create games without coding. One of the most popular game builders is BuildBox, but there's also FlowLag. These tools allow you to create games without coding and upload them to the Google Play Store and upload them to the App Store. If you wanted to create your own cryptocurrency token, your own NFT, or blockchain applications, there's tools like Third Web that allow you to create Web3 decentralized applications without coding. Many people, especially in Nigeria, in Ghana, and beyond, want to create chatbots and voice applications. Maybe you want to create a WhatsApp bot for the healthcare industry or for the education industry. Maybe you want to create a Facebook chatbot for similar reasons. We're just going to let this person in. There's tools such as VoiceFlow, there's tools such as Lambot that allow you to create these voice application and chatbot experiences without coding. Maybe you're an amazing front end developer and you want to create a Postgres database or you want to create some kind of relational database, but don't have the expertise to do that. There's no code tools that allow you to create backends easily without coding. Lastly is mobile applications. If you wanted to create a native application, if you want to create a progressive web application, there's no code tools that allow you to do that, such as Adalo, which we'll be using today, such as Glide, such as Flutterflow. And Flutterflow does allow you to actually export the code. It has its own internal IDE. It also allows you to import code and import scripts. Does anybody have any questions before we go on? If no one has any questions, we'll continue. Careers and opportunities. There are several careers and opportunities in the no code, low code space, or learning no code and low code skills. One of the most popular opportunities is becoming a freelance developer. So people are learning these skills. They are selling their services on Fiverr, on Upwork, on Freelancer, on Twitter, on Facebook, and they're building mobile applications, they're building web applications, they're building websites for clients without coding. I'm just going to take a look at a question, maybe. Oh, there's no question. Okay, thank you. There's some people take the agency manager or the agency managing director route. So if you own an agency, you basically get the contract and you subcontract that work to freelance developers. So maybe you've developed some expertise, maybe in WordPress, maybe in Webflow, maybe in Adalo, Flutterflow, and you know how to scope out a project, you know how to price a project, you know how to organize a project. What you might do with your agency is then outsource someone else to do that and then manage that project. There are people using no code and low code tools to be a founder. There's some people that are taking the bootstrap route. This means to build a company, generate revenue, and use that revenue to invest in the growth of your business, to pay salaries, and to make business investments. There's other people using the VC back route where they're using no code to build a product, get some initial users, iterate and get feedback, and use that feedback and use the learnings and use the traction to persuade venture capitalists, to persuade investors to invest in their business. You can be a content creator and instructor. All over the world, more content creators and instructors are needed. I do lots of different brand deals and lots of different partnerships with different brands, which helps me generate revenue as a content creator. Or you can be an instructor and partner with universities similar to this, but some universities have a entrepreneurship budget where they bring in workshop facilitators. Or you can just be a hobbyist. Maybe you just like to create apps and websites in your free time, and no code is a great way to do that without any serious commitment in terms of time. Communities. There's lots of different communities that are extremely powerful for your no code, low code journey. Similar to Google communities and similar to Microsoft communities, there's communities in the no space that are extremely helpful. One of the first communities that I'll say is extremely helpful to me in my journey has been On Deck. On Deck is a community of innovators and entrepreneurs that are striving to make social impact and make changes in the world. I came through On Deck's no code fellowship or no code cohort maybe 2 years ago. But On Deck is a great community and resource for many people. If you go to Twitter and you search the hashtag days of no code, or if you type in the URL 100daysofnocode.com, this is a challenge that helps you learn no code by doing very small projects for 100 days. So this is limited time commitment, but teaches you a lot about no code over 100 days. MakerPad, though I think it's makerpad.co, is another great resource. They have lots of on demand content there. Indie Hackers is another resource, not just for entrepreneurs, but for non entrepreneurs. It teaches you about sales, marketing, AI, blockchain, and allows you to ask questions to a large entrepreneurial community. Lastly, is Product Hunt. If you have built a product already, or if you're still researching and learning how to build products, Product Hunt is great for launching your product and marketing your product. So every day people are marketing products. You have the opportunity to upvote those products, and those products that are ranked one, two, three for the day usually have the most exposure. which can lead to traffic to your app, your website, your Chrome extension, you name it. So I'm going to show you some projects I've made. And if you have any questions, just let me know. So this first project, I believe I'd taken this out of the Google Play Store and App Store, but this was a directory for scholarships for people in the US. This is one of my biggest projects, Missing Black People. It was a website for appeals for missing Black people in the UK, but we also do beyond the UK too. This has led to partnerships with different charities, the UK government, the police in the UK, try to reduce the amount of missing Black people. Crypto Scam Detector is a Chrome extension that uses the CoinMarketCap API to detect whether or not the current website a user is on is in the CoinMarketCap database. Web3 was a directory of Web3 resources, over 230 resources, from jobs to DeFi to bug bounty programs, you name it, it was in this app. Does anybody have any questions before we go on to building? I'll pull up two more projects, or maybe one more project. So I'm not going to go through the whole process of deploying this application, but with this tool, you can deploy the application. The reason I'm not going to go through all of it, the deploying the application to the Play Store, is that could be a whole like hour workshop in itself because there's a lot to do to deploy to the Play Store. You have to create the assets, you have to create the description, the title, you have to add terms and conditions, privacy policy. There's a lot you have to do. Does anybody else have any more questions? So we're going to go ahead and create an AI application. And the AI technology we're going to use is OpenAI. Hopefully you might be familiar with ChatGPT. If I can just show you that real quick. ChatGPT is a conversational interface for OpenAI's uh, technology, and it allows you to ask questions and get answers. So if I log in and show you, oh, it's at capacity right now. So that won't actually work showing you that because it's at capacity. But I will be able to show you via the backend, via the API. If I log in, does anybody have any ideas of an AI application they might want to see in the world or create? So I kind of just skipped over. Hello? Okay, so we're gonna keep going. So I've created an account and signed into OpenAI, which is the AI technology we're going to use. And what you can see here, it has some pre-trained models. For example, it can explain a piece of code. It can extract keywords from. It can extract keywords. It can do factual answering. It can translate programming languages. It can create spreadsheets. It can do lots of different things. And actually, it looks like they've added some things. So this write a Python doc string is new. And this factual answering, I think, is new. So let's take a look at this model. Did someone... It says I'm not presenting anymore. Can everyone see my screen? Can you see my screen now? Okay, hold on. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen now. And I've just clicked on one of these answering ones. And what you have here is question and answer. And you can also see the API call. So I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with APIs, but we have the curl right here. We have the URL, and we have how we need to structure our API call. And we are going to need to know this a little bit later for our AI application. But I'm going to find one that could be interesting for us. I'm going to use essay outline. So I'm going to use this one and I'm going to create an application that generates essay outlines for the user. And I can test it in this OpenAI's playground. So what we'll see here is this is called a prompt. And a prompt allows the user to give input to the AI. And then what the AI does, it takes that prompt and generates the output. So if we just see what this is right here, we can see the input is create an outline for an essay about Nicholas Tesla and his contributions to technology, and it creates an essay outline for us. We could remove this completely and say, write a YouTube title and description for a video about no code. And click submit. And you can see it generates a title and description. And so it's very, very versatile. It is general, but it allows us to do some really interesting things. Does anybody have any particular use cases they might find interesting? If not, I'm just going to come up with a use case. So I might stick with this YouTube, write a YouTube title and description for a video about no code. So what I want here is I am going to use this prompt, but I only want two inputs from the user. I want something here. It might be YouTube. It might be, what's another platform? Twitch. And it will generate a title for Twitch, which really might be the same as YouTube. And I want another input about what the video is about. So it might say gaming. So there's going to be two variables. One variable is going to be the platform. Another, I might actually put three variables. One variable is going to be the platform. Another variable is going to be this right here. And another variable is going to be like, is it an image? Is it a video? Is it, what is it? Another variable is going to be what the video is about. So if we see here, image, and we're going to say Instagram, it says write an Instagram title and description for an image about an image about gaming, and you can see it wrote a title and description. And so we are going to build this into an application. Just let this person in. What I'm going to use for this is Adalo. And Adalo is a great tool for beginners. There are some tools that you can make a lot more complex than Adalo, but Adalo is great for beginners, which is why I'm showing you in it today. I am going to go ahead and log in. And if I just open this, and so I want to create a new application. So I hit new application, and I can either create a desktop web app or a native mobile app. So I'm going to create a native mobile app. I can start using one of the templates, or I can start from blank. So I'm going to start from blank. I have to give it a name, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call it quick caption. And it allows me to create captions and titles and descriptions really easily. I'm just going to leave this as the color scheme and not think too much about the style right now. And immediately what you can see is giving me a sign up and login functionality. So now if I hit preview, I can actually sign up and log into my app without doing anything. Especially when I first started on my coding journey, user authentication was one of the most challenging things for me. And even though I can do it a lot better now, no code allows me to create user authentication really easily. You can even see I can add additional fields if I wanted to add additional fields. So maybe when the user signs up, I want them to put, I don't know, their favorite food. So I can filter the options on the homepage by their favorite food and put recommended foods. So what we want to do here is we need an input from the user. So we have our homepage. What we're going to do is add a component. And on this plus icon, you can see we can add components. What you can see here is branding. You can see you can manage the screens here, the database, which we will be creating a database, settings, which allows us to publish the app. Oh, well, this doesn't allow us to publish the app. This allows us to add additional app settings. Publish allows us to publish the app to the Google Play Store and the App Store. You can see analytics and do some very slight version control. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add an input. I'm going to add a text input. And we're going to copy that 3 times. And remember, if we go back, we see in our playground, we want them to put a platform. It might be Twitter. And we're actually going to put 4 variables. So they're going to have to put a platform. They're going to have to put what they want. So here it says title and description. They're going to have to put like what it is. Is it an image? Is it a tweet? Is it a video? Is it a post? And they're going to have to put what is it about. Does that make sense to everybody? If you have any questions, just let me know. So I have four input boxes. This one is going to put enter platform. Now I might actually change this to make it a lot easier for the user. I'm going to put a drop down menu. And here I'm going to put select platform. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to tell the user select I'm not sure what to call that. Title and description. Select output. And then I'm going to create another one. And it is going to say for a image, a tweet, for a post, or image or video. Select content type. And then I'm going to create another one. Select theme. So I have four drop-down menus, and in here is where I associate the menu options. What you can see is that it wants me to pull the menu options from a database. So I have to create a new collection. If I go to database, you can see I have my collection of users, but I need my collection of platforms. So I'm going to put platforms, add, and now I can add some properties. So I could add another property that has a number, but we don't need that. We just need a list of names of platforms. So I'm going to add a platform, and it's going to say Twitch. That's one. I'm going to add another. It says Instagram. I'm going to add another that says Facebook. I'm going to add another that says, I don't know, YouTube. So I have a couple platforms here. And then what I want to do is go and map select platform to platforms. So if we actually test this out, I can preview it at any time. I can change what the preview looks like. So here I can view it as a Galaxy 10. So this is what it looked like on Android. If I sign up. Sign up. And immediately it takes me to my homepage, and we have the select platform. I hit the drop down and I can select my drop down. These other drop downs don't have anything. So this is what we need to map the other drop downs. So what we're going to do is map this. So what we need to do is create output. If I just look back at my format. So I am going to create a new collection that's called outputs. And that might say, hey, we want an output that is a title. We want an output that's a description. We want an output that is maybe a caption. Title, description, caption. Let's take a look at this. Let's see, title, description. write a Twitter caption, write a Twitter title, write a Twitter description. Okay, so I think that's okay for now. So we have a couple options here for title, description, caption. And what we're going to do is just map this to outputs. We're going to let this person in. We go back, content type. So let's just take a look. The content type, is the content a post? Is it an image? Is it a video? I think those are the only options we would have. So we're going to go back. We're going to create another collection. We're going to say posts or content. We're going to add post, video, image. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to map this to content types. You can see there's other options we can add. We could add a customized filter. We are going to use filters a little bit later, but when we add a list, and you'll see what we are add a list for. Lastly is theme, and theme is like, is it about no code? Is it about gaming? Is it about technology? So we're just going to add some things here. Again, we're going to do a drop down menu. You can do an input box. I just want to make it a little bit easier for the user. So let's just say technology. Let's say fashion. Let's say agriculture. Let's say tourism. We're going to map this to themes. Okay, let's preview this. So we can select. So this will be a video. Obviously, it's YouTube about technology. So the user is giving us some inputs. We on the back end, when we send our API requests to OpenAI, are going to fill in the gaps. So we're going to say write a, in this case, it's going to be YouTube. So instead of Twitter, it's going to be YouTube. And instead of title and description here, it's going to be just description for a video. Where it says image, it will say video. And then you're going to have about. And then we're going to take the variable here, technology. This will make more sense in a little bit. What we do want to do is add a button so we can start to trigger events. And this is why no code is really good. To add logic, it's really easy to just add a button to trigger. And so we're going to say generate. What I'm also going to do is just highlight all of these and group these like you would do in maybe Figma. So I just move that up. And what I want to do now is add a trigger to this button to make an API call. So we're just going to let this person in. We're going to do a trigger on this button to make an API call. So to add any action, what we're going to do is just click on what we want to add an action to, click add action, and then we can create new users, we can update users, we can delete users, we can add notifications, we can add external connections, we can connect it to a new page. But what we're going to want to do is create a custom action. So I'm going to select new custom action. I'm going to call this quick caption. OpenAI. I'm going to select create. And now what I want to do is add my information. I'm just going to let this person in. So if we go back, what we will find is if I go to view code, you can actually see the information that we need. So I don't think this is all the information we need. And I'm just going to open another tool that I use for these API requests. So if you're not familiar with Postman now, Postman's a way to use APIs. Hopefully everybody knows what APIs are. If you don't, just write in the chat. But APIs are a way to connect your application to third-party services. It's not only third-party services, but it allows you to connect to Twitter or connect to Facebook or connect to all these different types of tools. So I'm just logging into Postman to look at how I structured the request already. And I often go to Postman to actually test API requests. So if I want to test a request, I'll come to Postman and I just type in the details. I don't have to worry about having a UI, but I can come here and test my requests. So I'm going to look at some previous requests that I've made. If I go to OpenAI, I go to summarize. I'll go to this one maybe. Okay. So I'm actually just going to copy and paste my URL here. You want to use the base URL and it's going to look something like this. The method I want to use is post. I need to add a authorization header. So my authorization header is basically saying who I am and what permissions do I have to ask of something from OpenAI. Again, if I'm going too fast, if anyone has any questions, just let me know. And what I'm going to do is get my API key from OpenAI. So you want to go to this personal, view API keys. I can just go back. Let's see. Maybe if I revoke this key, hopefully I don't break one. I'm going to copy that key. I am going to paste that. I am actually going to write bearer. So now it has my authorization. What it also needs is input. So it's going to have a couple inputs. The first input it's going to have is unfortunately I got rid of it. Right. And Instagram. About technology. I might need to go back a little bit and just see the type of output. What outputs do I have? Okay, write an Instagram caption. I'm just seeing the structure of my prompt because I actually removed it. For a video about technology. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually go back to our API request because we didn't finish it. We want to add an action, add a custom action. And we called it quick caption OpenAI. create. We use post, header, authorization, and we put error there. We are going to go and grab this from here. And what we want to do is add some example inputs. So the first example input is going to be platform. And let's just say Instagram. The second example input is going to be content type, I think. Go back. Let's just say caption. I don't think I called it content type. I can't remember what I called it. Let's just say caption. Output, I think I called it. We want a caption. The content type is going to be a video. And then the theme is going to be technology. And this is just used for testing the API. What we need to do next is add a body. And our body is going to look something like this. Let's copy and paste to save time. Our body is going to look something like this. So we're going to have a prompt, max tokens, top P frequency, present penalty. You don't have to worry about these four and what they mean. Well, maybe max tokens. Max tokens, I think OpenAI has a token limit of 4,026. And a token limit is basically, it's not exactly a word count, but it's very, very similar to a word count. And it has a limitation on how many words and phrases and sentences and symbols you can send and receive. And the token limit basically sets a limit to that. You also pay in terms of tokens for OpenAI. Again, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. What I'm going to do for this API request is then replace this request with variables. So it says write I'm going to grab platform, and then I'm going to remove that. I'm going to use the output variable. I'm going to remove video, and I'm going to put the content type variable, and I'm going to remove technology, and I'm going to put the theme variable. What I then do is run the test requests, and you can see it's generated an output for me, and it says unlocking the power of technology, so much potential to explore. And what I'm going to do is then save that request. And what I need to do next, I'm scrolling all over the place, but what I need to do next is if I scroll down, what I can actually do is now I have to map these inputs to here, this request that I just created. So all I have to do is go to component. I don't know the names of the dropdown, so maybe it would be good if I label the dropdown. So I'm going to call this platform. I'm going to call that output. I'm going to call this content type. I'm going to call that theme. Okay. So what we want to do is go back, scroll down, and we want to map this. So I'm going to map that to that. I'm going to map the output. I'm going to map the content type to content type, and I'm going to map the theme to theme. Is everybody following along okay so far? Just let me know, just write in the chat if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast. What we need to do now is once the user selects the options and then hits generate, it's going to send to OpenAI. We're going to get our response back, but we need to store that response somewhere. So I am going to create something, a table to store the captions. And I am going to say, I need a couple things. So I need the response, which is going to be caption. And I need it to be relational to the user because I need to know what user created what. And so what I'm going to do is add another property, add a relationship to users, and it's going to give me a couple options. And just in terms of maybe you've learned this already in your program, but there's different relationships between data. And here are the relationships. So we have one to many. A user can have multiple captions. A caption only belongs to one user. That's the one that's true, but let's just keep going through all of them. A user can only have one, many to one. A user can only have one caption. A caption can have multiple users. That is not true. That's not what we want. We don't want a user to only have one caption and a caption to have multiple users. Here you have many to many relationship. A caption can have multiple users. A user can have multiple captions. We don't want that. We only want a user to have multiple captions and a caption to belong to one user. And we're going to click done. And you can see here that it says user, it's a user type, but it's also the name of it is user. And if we open this, what you will see is there's a space for caption, there's a space to tell us what user it is, there's an ID related to that record, there's a created date, and there's an updated date. Perfect. And so what we want to do is after this API call has been made, we want to add it to the database. So what we're going to do is add another action, click create, caption, and then all we have to do is map it. So we need to say the caption is going to be the result of this quick caption OpenAI API call. And we know it's going to be choices text because we saw that in the test request. And the user is going to be the current logged in user. So we can actually test this now. You won't be able to see this on the front end, but you should be able to see it in the database. So I believe we're still logged in. So I'm going to select Twitch. Actually, I might select Instagram, and I want a caption for an image about tourism. We click generate. It's processing. We haven't created a list to be able to see the results, but we are going to go to our database. We can see one record, and we can see it's generated a record. If we actually take a look at that, it says, exploring the world with the camera in my hand, there's nothing more magical than capturing the beauty of tourism. So this, we know it works. What we need to do now, and the final thing we need to do now is, if I just go back, and just let them in. Can we have an ebook guide at the end? This is being recorded. I would have to think about how it will be produced in an ebook, but it's definitely being recorded. What we have to do now is display the data. And to display the data, there's all these components that we can use, but we want to be able to use lists. And just before I show you the list, I'll show you some of the other components. So You can add text button, you can add a new app bar, you can add a form, you can add forms and fields, text input, date picker, file picker, location input. You can even add, if we go to the marketplace, you can even install third party plugins such as an image slider, star rating. Let's find some audio player. You can add in-app purchases, ads mob for putting ads in your app, Google sign in, Stripe to allow payments. You can add lots of different interesting things. But what we want to add is a list. So we are going to find a list. So we're going to add a custom list, and we're going to add the list right below, right here. And I'm just going to expand this so we can see. And what I want to do is say this is a list of captions, and I'm basically just telling the program what this is a list of. But I want to filter this. I don't want to show all the captions. I want to say the user's email of that caption is equal. You can see it says current caption user email is equal to the logged in user's email. So right here, I'm only going to show the logged in user their own email. I'm also only going to show, right now, it will show the whole list, the entire list of everything the users generated. But I might say, hey, I only want to show the one that they most recently generated. And I am going to do the date from newest to oldest. So when they generate a new one, they're going to see it here and they're only going to see one here. The last thing I have to do is map the data actually on there. So right now it just shows static text title. But what I think I want is the actual caption. So I'm going to select magic text, current caption, and caption. And I'm going to remove the subtitle. And so what you should see when I actually hit preview is you will see the record that I just created previously, or you should see that. So you can see it shows the record that I just created. Now, if I select, let's say, YouTube description for a video about fashion, hit generate, display it process, you can see it generates me a description. And I've kept this really simple in that I just created drop down menus, but you could create user input and you could make this as complex as you want to make it. You could make it for writing essays, you can make it for writing whatever you want it to write. So we have our most basic AI native application. If we wanted to publish this, there's a number of things we will have to do on the Google Play Store and the App Store. In the Adalo side, if I wanted to publish this as an Android app, I would have to get the Android credentials. If I just go, you have to create your build. You have to upload the Google Services JSON. You have to upload the Google Services JSON account key. And then you would have to hit Android build and it does it automatically. And every time you hit Android build, it will create a new build and publish automatically. So this is how you create a native application, a native AI application without coding. Does anybody have any questions? We have about 18 minutes, so I can show you more depending on what you want to see. Any questions? Do you want to see additional platforms? What Flutterflow looks like? What BuildBox looks like for gaming? Do you want to see more about AI? Do you want us to take this a little bit further? You can come off mute or you can write in the dialog box. It seems like everybody is a bit quiet. So what we may do is we might take this a step further. So let's see. So what we have done is we generated a caption. We had two captions. We have a caption for a YouTube channel. And what can we do with this? We can then take this result and maybe do something with it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what other things you want to see, because this is the basis of an AI application, and this covers everything that we wanted to show today. So this is what it looks like in Adalo, in this most basic form. To show you some other applications, I've done a similar thing. Here's an application where you generate reviews, you generate product reviews. And all you have to do is type in the product's name, like Stripe. It's essential, say it's original, say it's outstanding. You put an email address. And you can see if we hit generate, what you'll see. It generated, it says Stripe is essential for any modern website. It is original, outstanding design, perfect for any business. We highly recommend it. A similar, very, very similar concept applied for a different use case. If I show you another project, here I will be releasing this in a couple of days, but this is for generating love letters. And here you type in some keywords and it will generate a love letter for you. So let's see. You can see, I love you so much, I can't stop thinking about you. I want to hold you, holding you, knowing that the only one in the world to you. I've never felt this way before. I know it's right. I am glad. I love you so much. So it keeps going on. You can do lots of really interesting projects like this, especially applying your local knowledge, your experiences to create really interesting AI applications. If nobody has any final questions, can we? Yeah, if nobody, someone said about additional platforms. So I will share my screen again. So Google have their own no-code platform. If I just show you this. So Google's no-code platform is called AppSheet, and it's more focused on enterprise. The tool I just showed you, Odalo, is more like consumer, entrepreneur. AppSheet is more enterprise, and it allows you to turn Google Sheets into a application. The way businesses are using it is to enrich data using location, signatures, photo, and more, and also to automate workflows. Another platform is Flutterflow. Flutterflow is great because it allows, especially for Google communities, because it allows you to export the code. It allows you to import the code. It allows you to publish to the Google Play Store and the App Store. Lots of really notable companies using it. If you're thinking about games and creating games, BuildBox is a great tool for creating games. It allows you to make your own very, very high quality games without coding and monetize games really easily.